I learned about this guy here, Dan Wootton from following Depp and Heard, and Dan wrote not such nice things about Johnny in The Sun, which is why I think a lot of people are taking interest in the fact that Dan now has allegations out against him. Ironically, what Dan wrote about Johnny was false allegations. I was going to say allegations, but they're proved to be false. Now, one major publication writing about them, or becoming major, is the Byline Times. But aside from them, we've also got The Independent here and The Guardian. Now, for some reason, The Independent did a deep dive on Dan's history. Something I'm not totally caught up on, so I figured now would be a good time. This here's from August 4th, 2023. Not really old, not really new. Let's see what they got. Who is Dan Wootton, GB News star who denies claims he offered thousands for SEX images? Now, what they're doing here is for their reader base explaining who Dan is. So when the new headlines come out, the allegations and things, people don't skip right over it. Because, let's face it, if you don't know who it is, then you have less interest. So, they're seeding here. The GB News presenter, one of Britain's most salacious journalists, has denied the allegations against him. They start with a basic rundown that Dan is accused of tricking men into making not safe for work videos a lot of times without their consent. They say he returned to his show last Thursday, which was probably around August 1st or something, and Dan said, "So good to be back from my scheduled holiday in New Zealand with my family. It was really special actually, that family time, because of course, they're the people who really know you." I guess implying no one else really knows him. But alright. The guy he dated for a couple of years, Alex, was accusing him. I guess Alex didn't really know him. For those outside the Wootton clan, here's the story of how a 12,000-mile journey across the world turned Wootton into one of Britain's most well-sourced and salacious journalists before leaving him at the eye of the latest storm. They say he was born in 1983 in the capital of New Zealand to British parents. They say New Zealand is at least a 4-hour flight from the rest of the world. Okay, didn't know that, thank you. They also say that New Zealand was an importer of 1980s and 90s American and British culture. They list some examples: Martin Gaye, David Bowie, Michael Jackson, who, yeah, seem like they all got international fame. They say since he had a British passport, he was easily accepted to the UK, and that's where he started looking for a job. Well, pretty obviously, we could figure that out. And they say he briefly experimented with becoming a financial journalist, that his favorite movie is Grease, and he listened to ABBA. Two things I've never seen or never heard, really. So fine. They set up Dan's whole life. Came from New Zealand, moved to Britain, influenced by American culture. Got it. It seems like they're kind of writing some kind of biography here. They say that his world was manufactured by mainstream popular culture. In 2004, when he arrived, I'm assuming around that time, Shrek, Harry Potter, and Spider-Man battled for box office supremacy. They say in 2007 he got a job as a reporter for the News of the World. They then say the News of the World was shuttered in a scandal, so he joined ITV's Lorraine and became recognized as a rising star. Okay, well, that star might have the trajectory to go up and then come down. We shall see. He also had a column at The Sun and Rupert Murdoch's News UK. At that time, they say he had a conservative, gossipy worldview. They say in that year he came out as gay, and they quote, "I am gay and believe in equality in every way. If the media hides gay relationships, then how will they ever be normalized?" And for the record, fine with me, I'm all for equality. But in this case, it's not about gay, straight, or any of that. It's about Dan tricking people without their consent. So it's just really not relevant. But sure, no one here I don't think is against equality. We're on that page with you, Dan. Although generally private about his personal life, Wootton celebrated his partner Alan Longyear at his 40th birthday party in March, describing him as the love of my life, which is great. But the thing is, now we learn Dan likes being private. And I gotta imagine, with all these extreme details, about intimacy that are coming out, I don't think Dan likes it so much. They give more details about Dan coming out, and like I said, as a separate issue completely, I'm sure we all support that. It's cool to mention, but again, as Chris Hansen says, this is not about gay straight. This is about taking advantage of people. They go on to say that Dan was constantly making controversy. Specifically, they mention Meghan and Harry. He referred to Markle as a gutless woman, and he broke the news of Meghan and Harry's departure from the UK and resignation from royal duties. I don't know details, but it seems like on the Megyn Kelly show, he said these things and I guess kind of teamed up with her about Meghan and Harry. I'm gonna guess Megyn Kelly, from the little I know about her, agrees with Dan on this. And I got no dog in the fight. I'm no fans of Meghan and Harry, but they're kind of like the lesser of the people I talk about because they haven't actually done anything illegal. What else we got? They say Prince Harry referred to him as a sad little man, which is to be expected since Dan said all this stuff about Harry and Meghan. He became the leading voice on herd immunity with the outbreak of the pandemic. Once again, on this channel here, we've got no dog in that fight, so okay. Labour MP Chris Byron went to label him as a complete and utter nutcase. That's possible. They get into the Caroline Flack situation, and Caroline unfortunately took her own life in 2020, and many people pin some blame on Dan. They go on to say the Gospel of Matthew's most famous proverb, live by the sword, die by the sword, could have been written for Wootton. Yeah, seems like he puts all this stuff out on people, it comes back to him, he lives and dies with a sword. I think that's what they mean, not totally sure. And recently, he's still dragging Meghan and Harry. Seems to me, when I check his page and things, he's ignoring these allegations right now, just moving on, talking about other people, which I guess is one tactic. Not sure where it's going to get him, how it's going to end, but seems like that's where he's going right now. This article here, I think, was like 8 or 9 pages or something, so I didn't want to cover it word for word, but I think I got to most of it. Let me know what you think down below. If you have anything to add, I'm still learning about Dan and his history. Like I said, this is the foundation here, I think, for their reader base who doesn't know about Dan, to spark up more interest. Obviously, The Independent wants to see Dan in this situation, as does The Guardian, it seems. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time. Although generally private about his personal life, Wootton celebrated his partner, Alan Longyear, at his 40th birthday event in March, describing him as the love of my life. Okay. I'm kind of laughing here because this is going to be a little bit funny. Yeah, all right, take 2. Although generally private about his personal life, Wootton celebrated his partner. See, I'm getting ready to laugh. It's real laughter. It's a little bit manufactured, but it's real. Take 4, 5, whatever.